Have you been itching to break free from the constraints of your 9-to-5 job? If so, this episode is a must listen. We dive deep into the captivating story of Aaron Gaunt, a former Navy turned successful real estate wholesaler. With no prior experience at all, he actually did his first wholesale real estate deal without using any of his own money for an impressive $30,000 assignment fee. And in a single year, skyrocketed his earnings to a staggering $1 million. Wholesaling is a form of real estate investing where you can connect motivated sellers and potential buyers, making a profit from the deal without the need for huge upfront capital like buying an investment property. So join us as we explore the life-changing power of real estate and the steps Aaron took to drastically transform his career and his income. If you've gotten any value from this podcast, please drop us a review and leave us a quick note as a review. It helps us make more content so that you can get over the edge to financial freedom.
The DealMachine REI Podcast. Everything you need to know to get started in real estate investing.
All right, guys, we've got Aaron Gaunt with us. Aaron, can you tell us in 60 seconds what you've accomplished in real estate investing and what you're about?
Oh, man, we have accomplished a lot in real estate investing. And matter of fact, I don't even know if you want to call it investing because we do real estate wholesaling at a high level nationwide with a bunch of sales reps in office, but definitely has created me working for myself and being a full-time dad.
Holy cow. You have sales reps and everything in a full-time office. How'd you get started? You start with that big staff?
I did not. It took me a good while and a lot of learning, a lot of coaching, a lot of money spent in masterminds and mentors.
Gotcha. Can you zoom back to that first deal that you ever did and tell us about how you got started?
Yeah. So I'm guessing this is the podcast. Huh? I didn't know if this was an introduction. Absolutely, my man. So do you want me to give you like kind of my testimonial on it?
Well, just like what were you doing before real estate? How about that?
There we go. So I was in the Navy for 8 years, served on the USS Carl Vinson. Then I got stationed in Italy, did a bunch of Westpacks, did a bunch of cool things through that. We were the ship that like kicked off Osama bin Laden. We were first responders to Haiti. We did a bunch of cool stuff. Then I was a fireman in, like I said, Italy. And then I got out of the Navy. Then I became a fireman. First, I was a fireman in actually San Antonio, Texas. Was a great community there. And then after that, I actually got a job in being a fireman in San Diego because I wanted to get back to San Diego. And then, that's what I was doing before real estate.
Were you happy?
Westpacks. What's a Westpack?
It's basically hitting. So when you have you're asking me like I wonder if you know what a Westpack is.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I legitimately don't
so.
know.
Aaron's just cautious of everything. He's like, is this the real podcast? Do you really know what a Westpack is?
Well, no. So yeah, it's just basically the West Coast, right? So we have Navy ships on the West Coast. We have Navy ships on a bunch of bases on the East Coast. So on the West Coast, we hit like Asia because obviously that's where if you go out straight out in the ocean, you're going to hit Asia. So that we did a lot of Asian ports out there. And on the East Coast, if you go straight out, you're going to hit Europe, right? So we'd go out, hit all of Asia, and did a bunch of cool things out there. We were in Afghanistan. We were because I was, I graduated high school in 2007. I think I joined the Navy at like 2008, 2009. So I was like right when we were out there bombing Afghanistan in the middle of all that. So we did a lot. So we did a lot of Westpacks. We would launch jets with a bunch of missiles on it and they would fly back in with no missiles on them. So a lot of action.
That sounds intense. So they had to land. Were you driving one of those ships that they land on the ship?
I was an aircraft carrier. So I was on the USS Carl Vinson, fantastic. One of the best carriers out there. I only say that because I was my carrier. And if you know the big story when Osama bin Laden got caught, that was a huge story. I was actually on deployment. We all got kicked off the flight deck, and we thought it was like a pirate or a somebody who was MIA or whatever. So we kicked us all on the flight deck. We saw these choppers come down that we don't deal with on our carrier. And basically, they closed off elevator they closed off the hangar bay number 3. And what they did is they had a burial at sea on elevator number 4, which is in the back of the ship. And then later on, we were in our berthing and we actually get the news. We were watching CNN, and we saw big across the CNN was burial at sea, Osama bin Laden, USS Carl Vinson, and we're like, holy crap. We're on that ship,
Dang.
right? And then the skipper comes on and tells us what was going on and who that special visitor was. And so we didn't get to see him buried at sea, but we do have people that I do know people that actually did get to see the whole burial at sea. So that was pretty cool.
Wow, I never thought Osama bin Laden would come up on a podcast about wholesaling houses.
Right?
No joke.
Hey, thanks for your service. I really appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Do you like really exciting, like slightly dangerous things? Because I noticed firefighting's also in that same type of classification.
I don't actually. So I was big into fitness when I was in my 20s, and I'd had all people all the time say, "Hey, you should go be like a Navy SEAL," because obviously I was in the Navy. You should go try out for that, and you should go do MMA and all that. And I was like, I don't like to do any of that. I just like fitness, man. I don't want to get punched in the face and go. So.
If there's $1 million on the line, I would get punched in the face.
Yes, $1 million. Yes.
So were you happy as a fireman, or like what kind of spurred you to change careers?
Now that's a great question, because that goes into one of my best stories yet, and that is that revolves around my baby girl, my daughter. And so what happened was when I got to San Diego, kind of as I told you, I went back to San Diego, got hired as a fireman. I was still a single guy. I think I was in my late 20s, and I met a young lady, and the relationship was very short. After that, long story short, I got her knocked up, and she had my daughter. I'm not talking bad about her. She's the mother of my daughter, and hopefully she's doing well, right? Anyways, I'm just telling you how it is. So what happened was, she decided to say I wasn't going to be in her life. I actually opened up a court case while she was pregnant to basically stand my rights. So I was like, hey, I want to make sure I'm a father here, and I want to be involved. And anyways, right when she was born, she actually fled the state. So her dad lived in Colorado, and she actually drove to Colorado while in labor to get across state lines. And then I found out before that she was trying to give her up for adoption and all kinds of mess, right? And I could go on for days about it. But anyways, long story short, the cool thing is I knew I needed an attorney, right? And at that time as a firefighter, I didn't make that much money. And so trying to get an attorney wasn't going to be easy, right? And so I started to think, okay, how can I make money? How can I make money? How can I make money? At the fire department. And then so I remember back in the Navy, we used to read books, right? We pass around these books, and on deployment, and I read a bunch of books. One of those books was, can you guys guess it?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Poor Dad, man. And so I read that book.
Do they keep these books on the ship? Literally everyone I've ever talked to that has been on a Navy ship has read that book.
Oh, 110%. Yeah, we always have dreams on.
Well, the guy was Robert Kiyosaki was in the Navy, right?
Right. I think he was a pilot or something.
Left copies there for everyone.
Possibly. Okay. Well, if I always like to tell the story. So Nicholas Sparks and those love stories and all.
No,
I'm aware.
Okay,
but okay.
I remember reading one or two of those.
Just saying.
A bunch of us sailors were reading these stories, man, because he's a good writer. Anyways, but so one of those books was Rich Dad Poor Dad. At that time, I didn't take any action on it, even though it was a good book. I didn't have a big enough why. So my why was to continue drinking imports and talking to ladies, right? That was what I was doing. So anyway, so I think about back to reading that book, and I actually decided to pick it back up, read it again. And I said, okay, it's real estate. Real estate, I need to get in. How can I get into real estate? So what did I do is I went to Google how to get in real estate with no money, right? And wholesaling popped up. I said, what the heck is wholesaling, right? I'm at the firehouse. I'm looking up wholesaling. I'm trying to learn a little bit from YouTube videos and stuff like that. And then Wholesaling Inc. pops up, and it was $5,000 to get the course. And I was like, this is it. This is going to be the key. I had a girlfriend at that time, and it's my wife now. And I was off one of my days, and she was at work, and I said, hey, I'm about to spend $5,000 on this course because it's going to make us more money. Right. And she was like, do it. And man, she to this day, she's incredible. My wife is freaking incredible. She's my partner too. She's in the other room. anyways, I dropped the $5,000 again, no money because I needed an attorney and everything. And I dropped the $5,000 on a credit card. And then in 2 months goes by, I got my first deal for $20,000. So I was pretty excited about that. I gave it my all, and that's when Tom Kroll and Cody Hoffine were coaching it and stuff. So yeah, man, it was a pretty life-changing thing. I took most of that money. I handed it to my attorney, and I said, let's do this. Let's rock and roll. And long story short, I got full custody and full legal custody of my daughter. And so now she's with me full time, man.
Okay. So you needed to make more money, and that's what motivated you to get into wholesaling real estate.
Yep.
And Rich Dad Poor Dad got you onto real estate, but he doesn't actually use the word wholesaling in the book. How did you make that connection?
Well, great question. What's funny is I look back reading that book, and there was actually an instance where he did wholesale. I don't know if you.
Yeah, he didn't call it that, though.
Right. But it's pretty cool.
What did he say? Tell me what. Yeah, do you remember what he said? How he said it?
Yeah, he was walking through that neighborhood. I think he goes on his walks or jogs, and he saw a house, and he bought it, and he made an offer. And I think he just somehow he wholesaled. It was a while since I read that book, but is that the correct story, right?
Yeah, basically, he was going to close on a building that he had under contract for $2 million. It was an apartment building. This is what I remember. And then he actually was going to close on it himself, but then he met somebody that knew that he would pay $3 million, or something like that for it. So he says he actually transferred the equitable interest, which was his contract to buy the property, to the other person. And he immediately took, the difference and he walked away with it. And he doesn't call it wholesaling, but that's what wholesaling real estate is.
Oh, that's so cool. No, like I said, it was Google. I said real estate is how I need to get. I had no money. I was in debt. I had to go I was in debt to my attorney. And like I said, I went to Google. I said, how the heck do I get in real estate with no money? Boom. One of the options was wholesaling. So then I went down YouTube University like most people, and went to YouTube now. What's wholesaling? How to get in wholesaling, et cetera. And that's when Wholesaling popped up. And I was like, okay, I need a coach. And I don't even know why I thought about that, because till this day, I don't do anything without getting a coach or a mentor.
Okay. So you got a coach right away. You spent $5,000 on a course.
Yep.
Yeah. And then how long did it take? Did that make it really easy to get a deal?
So easy, right? No,
Really?
Obviously not. Until this day, it's still not easy, right? But at least we have the knowledge to can create our future. So no, I mean, it was definitely hard. One thing we were doing is we were doing postcards. That's what they were teaching at the time. So we did postcards, and I remember I was at the firehouse, and I went above and beyond. So I was at the firehouse. I remember taking calls while I was on at the firehouse. I'd run to the back, and actually, this is going to lead up to a story that involves DealMachine, actually, because what happened was after I got that $20,000 deal, I got another deal, I think, for $8,000. And then what happened was
Well, you got the first deal you got was $20,000?
Yeah, the first deal was $20,000.
That's pretty big. Yeah,
it was 20. It was great because I got to hand most of it to my attorney.
So you're okay. Yeah. So you were selling. How many postcards did you send out to get that deal?
Well, I didn't have much money at the time, so again, all of it was going onto a credit card. I think I was sending out maybe 1,000 a week, 1,000 a month. I don't know. It was a long time ago.
Okay. To what list?
I think it was some high equity list. Yeah, something super generic.
Yeah, it's okay. And then they called you, or did you have somebody else answer the phone?
I didn't have the money to do that, so obviously I was doing all the work. So they were calling me, yeah. And then I had.
Okay. Well,
when they called that first call directly from the marketing, because I remember my first one as well. I can remember literally rocking my newborn child. The phone rings, a number I don't recognize, and it's like, "Hey, you sent me a postcard," and I'm like, "What? It works?"
There you go.
How did you feel? How was that? You send out this marketing. Your first call comes in. Go.
No, for sure. So actually, my first call wasn't the deal, but my first call was just people saying, "Hey, I'm looking to sell a property." So I'd go on these belly to belly appointments in real nice houses because I didn't know how to pre-qualify yet over the phone.
Belly to belly. That's a phrase I haven't heard in a while.
Not heard belly to belly.
In person.
There you go. In person. And I just remember with my little notebook and walking through and trying to go on these appointments on the way I was getting taught. And again, they wanted market value, et cetera, because I didn't know how to pre-qualify. But the deal that came through was actually an agent. So their client got a postcard, and it was a real estate agent who gave me a call and said, "Hey, you sent a postcard to my client," and so forth. And so I had to work through an agent to get this deal, and that was definitely probably one of my hardest deals because I had no idea what I was doing, and I was trying to work with an agent. You know how agents are; they could give you that pushback.
Mm-hmm. So because normally you wouldn't wholesale a deal that's listed with an agent,
right? So technically wasn't listed yet, but they had an agreement to represent her, but it wasn't on the MLS yet.
Okay. And so why did they decide to go with you instead of listing it on the MLS and seeing what they could get for it?
Just because the property needed work. They had the client had some distress, so it wasn't something that they could definitely just throw on the market and get a retail buyer. Obviously,
like what was there, like a hole in the roof?
I think she had like a lot of animals, just stunk up the place. I think definitely need some some TLC.
Okay, all right. And so they liked the idea of just going with you to avoid that trouble, right? Were they going to clean it up to list it on the market? I mean, that's what you typically have to do, right?
As far as I know, they didn't. They were not going to do that. Like I said, for us, it was just
okay. So you offered a price. Did your offer look any different since there was an agent involved, or did you just kind of not worry about the agent?
Man, I had no idea what I was doing. I just tried to get as low as possible. That was Tom Kroll's one saying. He said, "Get it as low as possible." Ryan, weren't you a student of Tom Kroll's?
No.
Okay.
In fact, we just talked about this morning. I met him at a real estate meetup in Kansas City.
Okay.
Maybe 2 months after we had started wholesaling. I did not know. I did not know Tom Kroll from Adam.
Gotcha.
He was nobody to me, but went and seen him speak. The guy is awesome. We have become friends since then, though, and I've talked to him a handful of times, and we were in Collective Genius together, or he was in Collective Genius, and I think got out the same time I was coming in. And
gotcha.
So he has been a good spokesperson, I guess. He has spoken to my life a few times.
Yeah. So you made the offer as low as possible.
Yeah.
How did you know what was possible?
I think I went off of like the Zestimate or something, and I didn't know how to run comps at the time, and I just said,
okay.
I think Zestimate was probably like 500, and I said, hey, I'll give you like 380 for it. I forgot. To be truly honest, I totally forgot the numbers.
Because you thought maybe it was it needed $100K worth of work.
Yeah. Like I said, we're talking about my first deal. I didn't know anything.
Did they accept it?
Accept it? And then the agent said, "Yeah, if you could put $500 EMD down." And I said, "All right, I got a firefighter check coming my way." So
$500. That's low.
That's right.
That is low.
So did the agent provide the contract, or did you bring your own contract?
It was everything was on. As far as I understand it, everything was on the CAR form. I think.
CAR? What's that?
It's a California Associated Real Estate form that these agents use. Yeah.
And that allows you to assign it? Because I find a lot of agent contracts don't let you assign it.
Yeah, no. Every contract's assignable. I mean, it just protects you if you want to have the verbiage in there, like Aaron and or assignee. You can have all that verbiage in it, but technically every contract is assignable. Okay.
So once you got it under contract, how long did you give to close, or did you have to provide proof of funds?
Well, the funny thing is. So, no, actually, we double close that one if we think about it. So,
what's the double close?
Double close is transactional funding. So basically, you pay a percentage on somebody using someone else's funds to use it for about 24 hours.
So that, So the advantage of that is that the end buyer doesn't see how much you made, right?
Right. So what happened was the agent was really cool. I mean, he wasn't, and then he was, because what happened was he started seeing me bring all these buyers, because at the time Tom Kroll and Cody were teaching basically creating a feeding frenzy. So I was building my buyers list at that time as well, and so I brought all the buyers and I was calling around.
How?
What's that? How was I? As far as back in that day, I was going on like Craigslist, calling. Gosh.
So did you post
Facebook
a deal and they seen, like, how did you get their attention to come and look at the property?
Phones, talking to them, get them on there. I think we used MailChimp at the time too.
Property under contract.
Yeah.
Come check it out.
Yeah, my structure wasn't too robust at the time, but yeah, it was just me hitting the phones, right? And then,
well, yeah, but how did you know who to call?
Just basically, like I said, calling other people around the area who were quote unquote cash buyers, people who are buying fix and flips.
That was like a list you pulled from somewhere?
No, I could tell you what we do now, but no, at that time, there was no list I pulled. Like I said, it was just.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Where'd you get where'd you get?
It was one by one. So one thing Tom Kroll did back in the day, he said, before you start marketing to sellers, you need to build a cash buyers list of 100. And yes. so obviously for that first like month, I'm trying to build 100 people, cash buyers in my local area. So I think I was like calling like title companies, Craigslist, Facebook, stuff like that. Yeah.
Please open up your podcast app right now and leave us a review and let us know what you thought of this episode. It means so much because the reviews help us get in front of more people. And the more people we can get in front of, the more we can help them achieve financial freedom. And we also get more energy to put more content out like this to help you. So by leaving us a review, it will give you more content to come to help you along on your journey. Thank you so much. You call a title company, say, do you have any cash buyers you could refer me to who'd want to send deals to, and they would give it to you?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, wow. Good job.
Yep. So then, so they would, so I just like get a feeding frenzy. And then the agent was probably like, are you trying to sell this property? And I was like, yep. And so he was like, all right, so let's work together. And and I think actually at the end of it, I didn't even bring the buyer to the table. The agent was so cool. He actually brought a buyer to the table. He's like, I just want to get this done for my client. So I actually know that guy to this day. He's a very stand-up guy. He's actually right here in my town.
Hey, well, good job telling the truth, right? Because a lot of people would have like kind of not told the truth, or they feel weird about saying that they're wholesaling.
Right. No, for sure. And he was like I said, he was cool, and he's like, let's just get this deal done. And he actually brought the buyer to the table, and we just I had to go find a title rep, an escrow rep that was actually going to be able to do double closes and who understood double closes. So I ended up finding a good escrow rep for that, and we did the double close.
How'd you find that?
I don't know, I forgot, but I know her to this day. Her name's Shannon, and it's great gal. I think she even came to my wedding, and so. But no, other than that, we double closed it, and then I got the check not too long ago.
Okay. Well, good. I tell people if they don't know where to find one of those types of title reps is to go to a real estate meetup and ask who other people use for double closing, right? Just get the referral that way. There's always somebody in town who's doing it.
Oh, for sure.
Like, yeah, a lot of investors will know who that person is.
You know what? Tom Kroll, we told this exact story earlier this morning, David, so you're familiar with it. When we met Tom, I had one opportunity. It was the meet and greet moment. I walked up to him. I'm like, okay, I just started. How do I find buyers? And he's like, oh, it's the easiest.
Yeah, but he didn't tell you because you didn't buy the program.
Anything else. That was all he said is that's the easiest part. And I'm like,
yep.
Okay.
Oh, no.
But like, where do I find them?
Mm-hmm.
So
now we know. Call your title companies.
Where else did you say what else did you say?
Craigslist. What'd you post on Craigslist? Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, if you want me to throw down some information on how to find buyers, I could definitely do that. Because we're kind of talking about that story when it started. And again, I kind of forgot on what happened there. A lot happened since. And I mean, we could definitely jot down on how to really find some good cash buyers.
Oh yeah. The people want to know.
But what I like what you said there is when Tom Kroll, unfortunately, he didn't give you the answer, but yeah, when you hire a coach and you hire a mentor, ask them, dig deep. I do that all the time with my mentors and coaches. I ask them the deepest of deepest questions. Don't hold back. You're paying them for a reason. And if you hired a good coach, they're gonna give you all the answers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Throw down that info now on buyers. People want to hear it.
So what we do now, again, we're nationwide. So you can only imagine, okay, how do you find buyers, Mr. Aaron, nationwide? Because at that time I was only trying to find buyers in my local area, right in my backyard. And so we use obviously big platforms like InvestorLift, right? I think we're paying 35, 50 grand, something a year for that. Now that is a lot of money. Now there's a downgraded version of that. So that's a big platform that everybody's using.
So InvestorLift, I'm curious about this too, because I've seen several people come to me through InvestorLift. What is InvestorLift? What does it do?
So an InvestorLift is just a platform where you could post your wholesale deals. It's kind of Like when you do a blast is just sending all these buyers in these local markets that have bought into the platform.
But they would have to be signed up on Investor Lift to get, so you'll post it on there and then it would blast it to users that are signed up on there as buyers.
Correct. So how it all started is, so the owner is Robert Winsley. What he did is he collected a bunch of big wholesalers in all the United States, and he basically collected them and got all their cash buyers list, and they put them all together, and that's how it started. And now, obviously, as it gets bigger, more and more cash buyers are buying into the platform. Now, I always tell my team that is a small fish in a big pond, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a great platform. We do sell a lot of deals on it, but again, it's a very small fish.
What if you're brand new though? You can't afford that.
Heck no. You come to me and I'll dismal for you. No.
Yeah, no, that's actually a great strategy.
That.
Yeah,
that's a good strategy.
If you're new and you have a deal, find somebody in your market that you know is doing deals and just JV with them.
Yep.
Split the assignment fee.
100%.
Okay, but what else do you have for us?
Another big thing is a cheaper way is actually I could share a whole list of things that we do here. But
oh my God, you're knocking me off my chair, dude.
I could tell. So prop stream is one, right? It's $100. You go in, you go to your market, pull flippers or quote unquote cash buyers, but we just pull the flippers. You can skip trace right in the platform. You pull that list, throw it in a Mojo dialer or any type of dialer you use, call them, and try to get a flipper on the phone as fast as possible. And that's another way. Obviously, Facebook's a huge one. Facebook groups, Facebook Marketplace, huge. If you're doing novations, obviously there are flat fee services that you could put on the MLS, but we don't do flat fee services anymore. We go direct to agents. So you want to find top graded real estate agents to list your properties for you. So that's a huge new strategy that we're using, and you're going to be able to sell your deals more because an agent's going to be moving them for you, and you're going to get a lot more bigger spreads as well. So that's another one that we're using. Obviously Craigslist, there's all kinds of other dispo sites. So if you want to also link up with other big wholesaling companies like New Western, Keegley, so we'll reach out to them if we can't find any buyers in the market. What else? But yeah, it's usually agents and Facebook Marketplace on Investor Lift, and pulling flippers in the area are two big ones. Calling title companies, and like we said earlier, seeing if they've done any deals. Also, just remember, your sold comps are your buyers, so go to them as well. But those are some free ones. But yeah,
nice. Yeah, you can actually pull cash buyers in DealMachine too. If you
there you go. Sorry, DealMachine. Go to DealMachine. Pull your cash buyers there.
David, how do you do that?
Okay, once you sell your property, the way you do it is on List Builder, and you say build a list, and then it's a predefined list, cash buyers. But I'm curious, what did Aaron do with all that cash that he made from selling it to a cash buyer? Would you do that $20,000 right to the attorney?
Yep, right to the attorney, and then obviously right back into marketing, so I could do it over again.
How much money do you spend on marketing to get a deal now, would you say?
I think our contract, I think it's like $2,300 to get a contract. So
$2,300 on marketing. Okay.
Yeah, and that's just a contract, and we're doing multiple. Actually, I don't even know if it's that much anymore. I think that's, and because we're doing PPC pretty heavy now. Actually, I think it's actually a lot lower to get a contract now, but we were up to like $25,000 in PPC ads, and we're using Brandon Bateman Collective. Mm-hmm. They're a fantastic company. So if I know they're all in our CG mastermind, so good buddies with him as well. But yeah.
Wait, are you in CG?
Yeah,
he's in Collective Genius.
In which one? Are you in the same?
We're in Select right now, but at the end of the year, so I'm getting out of Select actually this month, and I'm gonna put a request in for the end of the year to get into Premier.
Okay. Congrats, man! Congrats on moving up. So how many? You must be doing 100 deals per year.
We're trying. I think so. I mean, well, let's see. Let's see what the end of the year comes. I mean, we're coming up to it. So at the end of the year, we're hopefully to get there.
So when was that first deal, by the way?
3.5 years ago. Yeah.
Okay, 3.5. Wow, that's a lot of accomplishments since then. What's your team look like now?
So my team looks like we're growing it. We have 3 acquisition people, 2 disposition people. We have an in-house TC.
Transaction coordinator.
What else? We have a couple of virtual assistants, not many, but just one administrative assistant. We have a TC assistant, and then who's the other one? We have another person that pulls and scrapes pre-foreclosures for our backyard market. One thing we're doing, but by the end of the year, we want to have 6 acquisition and 5 disposition people. So,
wow. Okay, cool. That's really cool. Congratulations, man. How much do you work now?
How much do I work?
Yeah.
Every day, man. So we have people come in the office from 8 to 5. I try to get here before that. And then, usually we leave about 5, only because I have a family. So I do like to get back to, being with my kids and my wife
and daughter. Yeah. Do you have any hobbies?
No. Once I
lifting. That's a hobby, right?
What's that?
Being in the gym.
Yeah, I guess I go. So I go to the gym. I mean, so I built my own gym in my garage. We have a pretty robust gym that we built in our garage. So obviously with kids and everything, it's nice to just wake up, go into the garage, work out, and then be done. But no, I think it was actually, Leon in CG. He basically said that, he's like, you will get hobbies. So right now my hobby is kind of building the business, right? I find that very fun.
Yeah.
For example, I see my guy David over here. I feel like you've definitely made your business streamlined, DealMachine streamlined. You built a fantastic, amazing team, and now you're able to go out on the boat and hang out and do your thing. So that's
after work.
There you go. No, I'm not saying you're not. I'm not saying you're not working, but
it worked less than before in the beginning for sure.
Exactly. You were grinding, right? You were grinding. You're hustling. You're making sure you're putting all the systems and processes in place, and that's kind of what we're doing, right? We want to make sure we get that team up and running, get it to the revenue monthly, what we're trying to look at, and then put those leaders in place. So that's kind of, we're just in the middle of that. I mean, we're a 3-year-old business, and so, and like I said, I didn't come from money. I didn't come from a background of business at all. I was a blue collar guy, and I just was obsessed and learned everything I could.
Dang, blue collar guy, meaning, right. Like you were always working with your hands, right?
Exactly.
You didn't have like a past sales job like Ryan did, right? So you had to learn.
I didn't know anything about sales. No, right.
Some sales stuff, right? I mean, it is kind of all based on sales stuff. You're just talking with people that need to sell their house, right?
Exactly.
How did you find that? How did you find that without having a sales background?
Well, like it goes back into what you said. You got to be geeking out on sales, right? Big plug-in for a great book is Asking Questions.
So no way. I'm gonna buy that book.
Are you saying? Do you have that book, or are you gonna go get it?
No, I'm gonna buy it. I just read Never Split the Difference. I thought it was very helpful. Okay. And I would read that one again. It was good.
Yeah.
But no, I like the Asking Questions. So tell us about that.
So Asking Questions was a good book. And again, that's another way if you start following people like, yourself, David, Ryan, myself, we're always putting kind of pointers out there. I'm always telling people what books I'm reading. But at the time, I was following Max Jimenez, great individual, and he was saying, "Hey, you should read these sales books." And one of them was Asking Questions. And what I loved about that book, it was just meat. There was no fluff. There was like no stories. It was like just meat on active what to do and how to do it. What's the streamline? What's the process, right? So I read it, and this is after I've done like a couple deals, and so I read the book. And literally, I went on to an appointment after I read the book, and I got like my first ginormous deal, which to me at the time was like $55,000.
Oh, that's ginormous.
From the tactics I learned in that book. And
where are you at? What's your market?
I'm in Southern California right now.
So it's a higher price. You get higher assignment fees.
Correct.
I noticed that trends together.
Oh, and you know what? That deal came from a DealMachine drive for dollars as well. So.
Wow. Are you sweet talking me? What do you mean? What happened?
So what happened, like back in our story, when I was pulling those high equity generic lists, well, I realized that I wasn't getting the traction I was hoping to get. It was those kind of like deals here and there, right? And especially new. And what happened is a light bulb went on. I said, I need a list that no one has. And I was like, driving for dollars. Driving for dollars is where I need to be at. And and Zach Booth, a good buddy of your guys's, he's doing his course, his DealMachine, his Driving for Dollars mastery. So if you haven't, go to him. He's if you want to get your first deal, amazing individual. He was actually our officiant at our wedding. So that was pretty cool. So good buddy of mine.
Hey.
Yeah. And so anyway, so I learned from Zach, and immediately he, obviously we downloaded the DealMachine app and started driving for dollars like crazy. And then we started seeing the rippers. Boom, boom, boom.
Why did you feel like you needed a list that nobody else had? Because you already had success with a high equity list.
Yeah, for sure. So because back when I was in the fire department, I actually got the fire department Wi-Fi. For some reason, they didn't have Wi-Fi at the time, but I got on Wi-Fi, and I was cold calling at the time, and I remember I pulled in my truck even close to it because I got called to the chief's office like 2-3 times because they're like, you can't be doing your business here, and I was like, whatever. And so, but anyways, I was cold calling those generic lists, and it was basically like you're the 7th person to call me today, whatever, right? So they get beat up, right? They're super easy. Then there's not, so you pull the list, everybody can pull the list. Your next 10 people pull the list. So I was like, I need a list that nobody has, right? We got to go find those niche lists. And obviously Driving for Dollars is a list that you create. Yeah. Some of those people that you tag are on some list, but primarily they're not on the list. You can't just pull a list and you think you're getting all the records, to be honest with you. So anyways, DealMachine saved me to get me more consistent deals. And yeah, Driving for Dollars is where it's at, man.
Man, Aaron, we have to have you back for another episode. You've thrown down the gauntlet for achieving success right here. Now, what advice would you give somebody that wants to be a firefighter?
not be a wholesaler, just be a firefighter.
Yeah,
to be a fire. Work out, man. Work out, study hard. There's a lot of qualifications that you need to be a fireman. So you got to get all your qualifications. You got to go to the fire academy. You got to be top notch, man.
Would you tell them to skip firefighting and wholesale?
Yeah. go. Yeah. I mean, it's great, but yeah.
Hey, we need firefighters.
We do
for sure.
But not everybody could be a business owner. I'm sorry. A business owner, it's tough, man. It's tough. And let's just be honest, being a fireman and being in the service, it helped me build a strong mindset to be here. But yeah, I mean, being a business owner,
maybe we could
tough.
Convince some firefighters to become real estate investors while they are fighting fires.
Oh, dude, let me tell you. So I was using DealMachine. So we'd come back from fires. This is a little inside story. Don't tell my old chief, right? So we'd come back from fires, and I'd pull up my phone, and I would start tagging properties in those neighborhoods on DealMachine.
That is awesome.
And then we go market them.
He's going to come back looking for his piece of the assignment.
There it is.
Yeah. Just worked a house fire. I'm going to send him a postcard right now.
That's right. One click, baby.
Get it while it's hot. No pun intended.
Well, Aaron, where can we find you? I know you're on Instagram, right? Aaron L. Gaunt.
Yes.
On Instagram.
Yep.
And that's the best place to go?
Yep. Instagram is going to be your best place.
Amazing. Any final words of advice, truly, though, for somebody who's just getting started?
Yeah. Be obsessed. Be completely obsessed. And don't be afraid to look bad. Reach out to everybody that you can, and yeah, be obsessed.
Yeah, you had some cojones there when you were just making calls in the firehouse, even after the chief told you to stop. So I can tell you were definitely obsessed.
Yeah, you got to have a bigger why. You got to figure out what is your why. What's my purpose for doing this? If it's just money, then you need to figure. I mean, don't get me wrong. Money could be a big thing as well, but my why was pretty dang big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Aaron. I appreciate that. And I'm glad it worked out. Like you said, your why was to support your family, get the rights to see your daughter. And that was definitely a success, a tremendous success. So I love to hear that.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.